Yo, what is going on, guys? Here, my name is xBuzzerman, and today I got for you the 10 worst raiding strategies in Clash of Clans. We're going to be going ahead and going over 10 terrible raiding tactics, and we're going to complement each of the 10 with a tip to help eradicate that strategy. So if you're doing something wrong in Clash of Clans, you're raiding, or you're just not really getting those 3 stars or 2 stars that you really think you can get, this is going to be a video that's going to help go over some of the issues you might be having and to help improve yourself. Let's go ahead and get started and enjoy. Alright guys, to start everything off, probably one of the worst things I tend to see, and it's the most common thing I see, is people use their wall breakers wrong. What they do is they go ahead and send their wall breakers in first, and their wall breakers will quickly get destroyed, and then they'll send in some sort of a meat stick or their troops. What you're going to want to do is send in your meat sticks, let them start getting attacked. So as you can see, this guy's getting attacked, all the troops were focused on him, and then send in your wall breaker, and your wall breaker will tend to get it. Now if he comes across a big giant bomb like that, that's just a problem in its own, but it leaves all the distraction on one troop, while the troop that can actually take hit points, it's meant to be taking hit points, it's a meat stick, while the troop that's really not meant to take a lot of hit, a lot of attacking, is going ahead and breaking down the walls. One of the biggest mistakes I see that really costs people a few stars, whether it be going from a 2-star to a 3-star or just getting a 2-star, is their army compositions. Now, a lot of army compositions do work, and I showed you a few resources you can use to find army compositions, but this one is really up to you, and that is effectively using the types of troops that cater to your raiding style. If you're a guy who really is effective at using high powered troops, usually you're not going to want to mix it with maybe a barbarian or something. So don't overuse one troops. A lot of times I see people use too many P.E.K.K.A.s, where they use like 5 P.E.K.K.A.s. That's too many, guys. You got to use the troop for its intended purpose. We're going to go around and pretty much tell you the maximum amount you're going to want to use. When it comes to hit point troops or meat stick troops like golems, 2 is probably the most. 4 is not enough. 4 is too many. They're using that intended purpose for meat sticks such as giants, golems, and lava, whatever you call these bad boys, lava hounds. You're only going to want to bring a couple of them. The wizards, you're going to want to bring a lot, probably more than 10. Dragons, usually a lot. Usually one thing you're not going to do is mix like balloons and dragons. You're going to want to effectively create an army composition with intended purposes. Do not create too many wall breakers. 15 is probably too many. Don't have too many barbarians. Usually we're going to go over, usually about 20 to 30 of these bad boys are good, of barbarians. Archers, probably more. Giants, no more than 10, no more than 20 probably, I'd say. Goblins, we'll get onto that later. Probably wall breakers, no more than 12. Balloons, probably no more than 30. I think that's how many you can get. Probably usually about 28 to 30 is the optimal range. Healers, don't use more than 2. I mean, 2 is the maximum amount you're going to want to use. Dragons, that's a limbo troop. P.E.K.K.A.s, 1 or 2 is probably good. When it comes to minions, that's a limbo troop. Hog riders, limbo troop. When I talk about limbo, I mean some army compositions use a lot more than others. And then witches, probably like 1 or 2. So use enough troops, but don't overuse one troop. Just like on the ground, the air troops have just the same kind of concept, where you don't want to put your meat sticks first. What you're going to want to do is where you want to put your meat sticks first. What I recommend doing is sending in the balloons. Don't just send in one at a time, by the way. If you're one of those guys who sends in maybe 4 or 5 in different areas for the balloons, most air troops, you're going to want to send them in masses, because you're really trying to get rid of these air defenses. What I tend to see people do is they'll send 1 or 2 in. What you're going to want to do is send them all in at one time and then spam right behind you your other troops. Sometimes I recommend, usually if it's by an air defense, you're going to want to send in quite a few minions first. This is all personal preference. You're going to want to send in other troops first, just so the air defenses are distracted, because there's a lot more of them to knock out, and then you're going to want to send in your balloons to take them out. So troop placement is very critical for air troops. You really are going to want to just spam a lot. I know I said don't spam as much, but when it comes to air troops, Most of the times you're spamming in one area. Alright guys, the next thing I see a lot of is I see a lot of people just spamming troops really uncalculated. The rating is a calculated thing, and especially when you get to the higher ranks, you don't just go in willy-nilly just doing that. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pick an area out in which you believe suits your troops best. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then you just kind of spam like 10 troops at a time. You go in with your meat sticks, and then you go in after that with your ranged troops. Go with your meat sticks, go in with your ranged troops. Now depending on how prioritized it should be, that's how many troops you should put in. It might be sometimes you want to put in 40 troops at a time, while other times you're going to want to put in 20, 10, or even 5 troops at a time. We're going to be talking about accounting for traps. Now do not just go willy-nilly into a base. If you see this right here, that's just not a free opening. That's not going to be something that there's going to be traps right there. There are going to be traps right here and right here. You're going to want to recognize bases that have traps. This is a terrible base to use as an example. As you can see right here, over here, there are going to be traps right here. I tend to see people go willy-nilly in the spots that they do see just lots of open areas. A lot of people will attack right here and right here, or just right here, and right here. That's probably not the best option. You're probably going to want to go to a spot like right here. That's probably going to, just look for where the traps are and be prepared. You might want to use some bait troops, things like that. Maybe like goblins or hog riders. I tend to use a lot of hog riders and wall breakers to really bring out the Teslas, or just bring out the clan castle in general. A good spot for this base would probably be somewhere around here, just right there. That is something to account for as well. We'll talk about that later. Next, if you ever see this opening right here, even if it's like one down, so we're gonna go add another one just like that, that's not a free opening, guys. Even if it's like that, that's not a free opening. Don't even deploy troops within the vicinity of this, because what's going to be around it is there's going to be a giant bomb sitting there. You can't see it. I just talked about traps, but you can't see it, but it's going to be there, and it's going to wreck your troops. I tend to see a lot of people think that, and it's great for a base. They're called funneling, and they funnel your troops over there. So if you see this, most likely going for this over here versus that over there is going to be a better option. We're going to go show you it in real time. So we're going to go over to some raids and show you where we tend to see it. This base doesn't have any, so we're going to go and see if we can find one with funneling. That's funneling right here. This is funneling at its prime. If you deploy a troop right here, most likely there's going to be some sort of trap. We can't do it right here, but let's see if we can get rid of this and make our way down there. Most likely, if we can, come on, get in there, go over there. Just see, there's a bomb right there. There are going to be traps, so people tend to attack those areas, and then a bomb is going to be ready for you. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is point of entry for an attack. What I'm talking about is where are you going to place down your troops initially. This is very critical towards actually getting a successful raid, because most of the time where you initially put down your troops is going to mean the difference. I'm going to go over and go to this base right here. Now let's go ahead and show you this base right here. As you can see, this is a little off-centered. This town hall level 9 is a little bit off-centered to this side of this actual area. It's going to be over to this side of this actual area of the base. What a lot of people will tend to do is they'll raid right here, right where these two barracks are. Well, that's basically falling right into the trap, because what they want you to do is they're going to want to get to that town hall. They want you to get to that town hall to where you might get 1 or 2 stars. But you're going for a 3-star here. So what you're going to want to find is the weakest point of attack. Now, it's really symmetrical, this base. This is why I tend to choose this base a lot. But right over here would probably be, or right here would probably be the 2 best points of entry. Why? Because these 2 are very spread out from this spot right here. You're really trying to avoid confrontation with the expos and these 2 right here. This spot would get you a broad area of range. If you attack right here, you go in a point of entry right here, you're going to deal with all of this right here. Now, one thing I do tend to argue is these gold storages. They'll tend to really Gold storages tend to really delay troop process because they have a lot of hit points, so attacking right here would not be as good. It's easy to get in because these gold mines don't have many hit points. You go in, you take the wizard tower out really fast, and you'll have accessibility to the mortar as well. So your 2 splash damage troops that are really going to do a lot of damage are already out of the way. Then you can enter into this expo area right here, and you already have an expo out. You go ahead and place down your spells, and you're pretty much rolling. Don't fall in for easy tricks, such as a town hall that's off-centered like that, like this base. It's intended for you to only get 1 or 2 stars, but if you effectively place down into an area in which you believe you can get rid of a lot of troops really fast. So find an area where there's a lot of defenses kind of on the edge. That's probably the biggest spot. As you can see, there's a lot of defenses on this edge. Why? Because you can take those out really easy. All you do is place down your hit point troops and your wizards will do the work. And then you're going to have less resistance. Take the path of least resistance. So that's it for the air troops. Now air troops are really kind of difficult. You're only going to want to use air troops when these are really spread out. So as you can see right here, you're going to want to go for these 2 right here. So just place troops probably right here and right here. Just place pretty much almost in a parallel line. That's always how you're going to want to place them, in a parallel line so they go directly at it. So the next thing we are going to talk about are spells, and spells are very crucial to raiding, and they are the difference maker. They are the one difference maker that could actually potentially get you a 3-star. Your placement of your spells is very critical. What I recommend going with is usually, most of the times, lightning spells aren't good. Now if you're a bad raider or you're not a great town hall yet, you don't have enough for any better spells, probably going to have to go with lightning spells. But most likely, if you're in this situation where you're like a Town Hall 7 plus, you can use a healing spell, a rage spell, and then Town Hall 9 plus, you can use your jump spell and your free spell. And those are where you start getting really, really good raids. What I actually recommend you using, that's probably the best spell there is. The rage spell is the best. You can't go wrong with it. There are a ton of army compositions that really go well with the rage spell itself. It's not overall the best combination, but for your best amount of success, if you're just using one thing, get good at using the rage spell. The jump spell can be very effective as well, but that is a more skillful spell to actually use. You're going to require more skill to use that. And then the free spell, we're not going to really touch on the free spell very much because it's a Town Hall 10 thing, and I assume a lot of you guys really aren't Town Hall 10s, so we're going to kind of touch on the healing and the rage spell. And now for our dark spells, we also have these, which are kind of complementaries. I call them complementary spells because they really aren't game changers, but they do well. So let's go ahead and talk about when to actually use your spells. Well, if you look at this, we're just gonna kind of look at our base and tell you when. You're not gonna want to drop one right here, where this elixir storage is. You're not gonna want to drop one right here, where this gold storage is. You're probably just gonna want to drop it right when you get in the middle. Always drop a rage spell right in the middle, and that's when your troops are about right there. When they're almost, or they're just close enough for the middle. I'm going to go ahead and go over to a war base because it's more effectively demonstrating it. Let's go over to this base right here. Say you got your troops about this far in. That's when you want to drop your rage spell right there, because it's going to attract the troops all the way to this middle part of the base. You're trying to get them in and out of the middle of the base as fast as possible, and destroy the core as fast as possible, because most likely their strongest defenses are in the core, and it's going to be the place where your troops get hit the most. So if you can go ahead and get them out as fast as possible, the best thing to do is to actually drop a rage spell in the middle. That will go ahead and get them out. The most common mistake I see is people going ahead and using them right here, right here, right here. They just don't. Even if you have to spam like 4 or 5 in the middle, that's going to be effective. Something like a heal spell, usually it's right when you get after the core, or if not, it depends. So the proper use of spells is absolutely critical in creating a very, very good raid, turning a 2-star or 1-star into more stars. So this area right here is kind of a plug. Now, as you guys can see right here, this is called Clash of Clans 3-star Clan Wars, and this guy basically just posts 3 stars, and he shows which kind of raiding tactics to use and kind of just start showing 3 stars. And the best way to actually get a 3 star is to watch a 3 star with the armory composition that you're going to want to use. Now we're going to go ahead and type in this YouTube search bar just a random 3 star, or just maybe an army composition, and there's always bound to be at least 1 or 2 3 stars showing you how to do it. So let's go with Go Wipe, which is one of the easiest. Here it is. We're going to do a TH8 Go Wipe. This is probably one of the easiest army compositions, or the how do we say this? This is probably one of the most common attack strategies for TH8, TH9, whatever you want. And here it is. There's tons and tons of videos. This guy is absolutely incredible. Clash with Ash, and he does 3-star keys. So basically, how to actually 3-star with this. Here's a clan war right here where they go ahead and use it. Now I'm not going to actually play it just for the fact that that could infringe on some copyrights. But there's the 3-star clan war. This is what we're talking about. So basically, we're just going to kind of play through that. It's showing you exactly how to 3-star. Now there's different unique bases, and that can come into play, but overall it shows you the most effective way to commonly get 3 stars with the raid strategy that you figure you want to use. So we're going to go ahead now and do a live raid and show you what commonly would be done that's not very effective. Now as you guys can see right here, we have air sweepers right there, and these are obviously going to be Teslas. You gotta observe a base. People would probably go right here, but you can see there's a trap. What I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna start off in right here. All we're gonna have to deal with is the air sweepers, and then eventually the Teslas, but we'll be too good for that. We're gonna start off by checking the clan castle, and that's really easy. All you have to do is that, it'll go off. It doesn't look like there's anything in there. That's really nice for us. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do what we told you to do, which was put in your hit sticks and then add your wall breakers after. So go ahead, they'll get right through, and then add anything that can be like a clearing troop. A lot of people will just kind of go in. Let's go ahead and add that. We're already kind of heading in there with that. And now we can add all of our, just start spamming everything. This is what's so good about this kind of raid strategy right there. Let's see if we can go in there. Gonna be a little bit harder for me just for the fact that I am using a troop setup that I'm really not accustomed to, or not like that. Alright, well let's do that. Now like I said, when you get close enough, add our jump spells. Now, oh crap, well we kind of misplaced the jump spell. Let's go ahead now and add both of them. So when you get in the core, we're trying to get out of the core right now. Go ahead and add our healing spell just to heal up those bad boys. You need to put a wall breaker in randomly. So as you can see, this is already going to be a 2-star, if not a 3-star. I don't know if it's going to be a 3-star. Still trying to figure that one out yet. We might not actually have enough time in our archer tower over there. So this raid definitely could have been done a little bit better. We could have placed that jump spell down a little bit sooner. That would have been done. That would have been probably helped out a little bit more. Hope that's gonna effectively hurt them as well. We're definitely not just, we're probably, what's going to happen is we're gonna run out of time. But as you guys can see, this strategy, which is not the best strategy for Town Hall level 9, by far hogs are probably going to be your best bet. This strategy is still viable just for the fact that we did it well. We actually raided well. Now I know I'm going to get a lot of criticism on this, saying, you know, that was the worst raid I've ever seen. All YouTube Clash of Clans YouTubers suck at raiding. And yeah, you're probably right. You probably could do this 100 times better, but this is trying to do it live on the computer. It's just a little bit harder. Trying to talk to you guys while I'm doing this as well as making it just even more difficult. But what I'm trying to say is that even with these odd circumstances, what people do is they just go in. As you can see, I avoided all of his traps. All of his traps were avoided. Everything, it was a really easy base to get into, and almost 3-starred when I didn't even raid it effectively using a super effective actual raiding strategy. So overall, I actually could have used clan castle troops probably as well, and they would have got me that 3-star. The overall intention of this, guys, is really observe a base, go to the spot they really aren't intending you to actually come through, and then just raid the crap out of it. Get out of the core. That is the biggest tips I have for you guys. You're almost guaranteed a 2-star every time if you do that. Thanks for watching, guys, and that's pretty much it. I want to thank you all for watching this video. I hope you got some good tips out of this and you learned that some of the worst raiding strategies there are and how to actually prevent them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Comment down below, and we'll see you guys next time. Later.